There's nothing more powerful than love shared. Nothing. Little example of that. We change each other. It's not, of course, loving ourselves, but it's loving each other in that same way. You know, I looked at, this is the last Sunday of the what if messages we've been doing. And I was thinking about what if that inspires wonder in us. What if the wonder, and of course the wonder of being the miracle is amazing, but what if we lived in wonder? And I remembered, of course, living in wonder. I can't forget John O'Donohue's book, Walking in Wonder. He's such an amazing man, an Irish man, a poet, a novelist who was just a theologian and doctor of theology, and his spirituality, Celtic mysticism, wonderful. I just opened the book and I thought, gosh, I just want to start with these few words this morning because they're so amazing, if I can find them. Oh yes, right here. Gateways to wonder. And so here we are. It's the last Sunday of November, and we're in the gateway of the holiday season, where we want to inspire wonder and beauty and kindness and love and joy and problems and stress and all that. But we're going to focus on the first. We're going to focus on the wonder of it. And here's what O'Donohue says. He says, one of the fascinating things about humans is that in contrast to stones and to water and to earth and to fields, they seem to be privileged and burdened with the ability to think. Every human person is inevitably involved with the two worlds, the one they hold within and the other world out there. All thinking is about that bridge between the two worlds. I want you to listen to this line. All thought is about putting a face on experience. All thought is about putting a face on experience. We decide how we interpret things. We make the decision how we look at things. I want you to keep that in mind. He goes on to say, Socrates said that an unexamined life is not worth living. An unexamined life is absolutely not worth living. Therefore, the question is really one of the greatest forms of wonder that we can have. The question. Now, this is a little side note, but it was Rainer Maria Rilke, another famous poet, a German, Austrian poet, said, learn to live in the question now. If we live in the question, we don't get as disappointed. We don't get as wound up in what is. We learn there's always something more, a greater possibility for us. And we go on here to say, the limitation of where you are now or what you think or feel in this moment is also the threshold right now of what you are actually going to move into. Where every moment we're at a deciding point, a point where we can make a decision of who we want to be, how we want to show up, what choices we're making out there and in here. And he goes on to say, and thought, if it's not open to wonder, if we're so constricted in our thinking, it can be limiting, destructive, and very dangerous. Wonder and compassion are sisters. Each one of us is the custodian of the inner world that we carry around with us. What if we realized what a miracle we're carrying within us now? Ernest Holmes, the founder of our theology and our teaching, he loved to use the metaphor of a seed. He loved to use that because a seed is like our thought. We're born from a seed. A seed is the beginning of things. But if we think of a little tiny, let's just say it's a rose seed or an oak tree seed, whatever it is, a little tiny seed that can be blown away out of our hand. It's so small. And yet it carries the potential of its whole being inside of it. It contains everything it needs to be what it's meant to be. Think of that little rose and the beauty it's going to bring to the world and the joy it's going to bring and the weddings and the ceremonies and celebrations that we'll participate in. And think if it's an oak tree seed, the strength, the stability, the home for birds, the wonder it has, and it's all in that little seed. And if you and I could just realize inside us, we have that same seed of potential. There isn't a place, there isn't a person that doesn't have that seed of possibility in them. Buddha said this, he said, if we could see the miracle of a flower clearly, our whole world would change forever. And I think that's what he meant. If we could just realize all the potential that flower, that seed holds, that flower is what we have within us. Another poet, Robert Browning, said, just release your imprisoned splendor, which to me means the same thing. Release something. We're always on the verge of something greater if we choose to. Our greatest gift and our greatest burden is the gift of choice. Because we can choose in this moment to embrace the power and presence of Spirit that is within us right now, that power, that life for good that is right here, or not. We can choose to be our better selves or not. We're in control of what we're doing by the choices we make. What a decision. The flower doesn't get to choose. Well, maybe that's easier. I don't know. But we get that gift of choice. We can be whatever we want to be. And Ernest Holmes says, you are the evolution of God's creative expression. What we need, the thing that harms us most, he said, the worst thing we can do is go around thinking, nothing good is ever happening to me. And it's never going to. I mean, we go around carrying that. You know, we hold it. And he said, in doing that, we are being very positive about a negative mental attitude. He said, actually what we're doing is we're putting faith to work in reverse. We're putting faith to work in reverse. We need more repetitious positivity in our life, right? Repetitious positivity. We need to think the good things. We need to do the good things. And so this power of choice is an affirmative attitude that will keep us blossoming and growing. What if we woke up every morning and even before we got out of bed said, there is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That is my life now. We said that at least 3 times. And then we got out of bed and then realized that we can open the day. We can open a gateway to wonder or a gateway to stress, a gateway to love or a great gateway to negativity and judgment and all of that stuff. We choose, we decide what we're going to do. It's not the outside, it's the inside that makes a difference. Einstein said, there are 2 ways to live your life. One as though nothing is a miracle. And you know the other. And the other is if everything is a miracle. I believe everything is a miracle. I believe it's all unfolding. You know, the metaphysical laws that we practice are not supernatural. The metaphysical laws are truth of the way life works. Just like we have scientific laws, natural laws that work, we have spiritual laws that work. And when we say that the creative process is bringing the invisible into form, bringing spirit into manifestation, that's what we do. That's what I would call a miracle. So every choice we do, everything we do is a miracle. We are creating every thought we think. We're bringing something into form in our mind and in our life. And we can choose. We can choose to change or we can choose to make it different. I'll tell you, the greatest miracle maker I have ever heard of is Jesus. He was the greatest teacher, the greatest spiritual genius, and he changed people's lives. The miracles he did in the short 3 years of his ministry, I had to write them down. I couldn't even remember them. He restored sight to the blind, cured the sick, fever, leprosy, paralysis. He cast out demons. He calmed the storms. He walked on water. He turned water into wine. I like that one. He multiplied loaves of fish and bread to thousands, and he raised the dead, and he resurrected himself because he believed. The first thing he said before he did a miracle or said a prayer was thank you. Because he didn't have a question. His faith was so strong that he knew God would answer. He didn't have any doubt about that. He felt that that faith was just the same as we go turn on a light. Well, he didn't have light switches then, but anyway, that energy, turning on a light and a switch and the light comes on, he said that's the same with faith. We can turn on the power and the law of good, if we have faith in something greater. And that's faith in miracle making. That's faith in the invisible that we can't see. And we can do that with our own faith in knowing that something good is there. We can change our viewpoint. We can shift our perspective. Miracles happen when we shift our perspective. But we know we also need to expand our beliefs. Jesus said, "It's done unto you as you believe." We're creating. If we believe in goodness, we'll attract. And if we don't, okay, it's like not that simple, but it sounds good. Anyway, so he believed in all that. And Hafez, the other Sufi mystic, said, how did the rose ever open its heart? How did the rose ever open its heart and give to this world all its beauty? It felt the encouragement of light against its being. Otherwise, we remain too frightened. And how true it is. If we don't have spiritual practices that will plug us in, turn us on, ignite us to something greater, we'll remain filled with doubt and fear and uncertainty. But there's miracles waiting to unfold in every single moment. So if we say it's done unto us as we believe, what spiritual practices do you do? Meditation? You know, it was Mother Teresa who said, in the silence of our heart is where God speaks. We need to take time every day to turn within, quiet down, and feel that message of Spirit. If life is for us and God is life, that message we get will always be positive if it's the message of Spirit. And let that speak. Meditation, contemplation, contemplate on the goodness, look for the good. Prayer, commune with Spirit. Keep that doorway open for the greater good, the something possible right then. And live in gratitude. I love this statement. It just makes me feel good. It says at the end of the day, just say, thank you, Spirit, for the ways I was used today. Whether good or bad, there's a lesson in everything. There's a gift in everything. Thank you, Spirit, for the way I was used this day. Now, I mentioned on that song for good how much power there is in love that is shared. This season, if you notice, the commercials you watch on TV, if you watch TV at all, they're getting very touching and very meaningful. They like our hearts to open. So there was a commercial that showed me the power of love instantaneously. Now, when we had our angel store, we were quite connected with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. We had a lot of people came in, and we learned about Make-A-Wish, that Make-A-Wish deals with children that are terminally ill or very ill, and they give them their wish. They create the wish. So this commercial was about all it said in the beginning was Make-A-Wish, just printed. And there was a young teenage boy, bald head, and he was trying on a suit. And he was saying to a person you couldn't see, you could just see him, well, what if she doesn't want to go with me? And the voice said, oh, she'll want to go. And the scene changes. And he's going into a hospital room, and there's a beautiful girl, a young teenage girl, sitting in the bed, and she has long, pretty hair, and she's kind of shy. And he said, hi. And she said, hi, do you want to go to the prom with me? And she said, yes. And the next scene, they're walking into the prom, and they get just right before the dance floor. And she looks at him, and she said, so your wish was for a prom? And he said, no, my wish was for you to have a prom. It just, tears sprung in my eyes. The minute he said that, that's the power of love. And that's how it can change things. Those acts of kindness when you make someone else's happiness even a little more important than yours. You make sure you do something to make someone else happy. I thought this holiday season, what if we could do something, an experience? It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Just something you know will make someone else happy experientially. Not just gifts that are in packages, but gifts of being together. How good that would be for us to open that gateway to wonder in a new and exciting way. The miracle of the heart is the greatest miracle that can shift our perception in that moment. I'd like you, if you feel like it, you don't have to, but just place your hand on your heart, not near your microphone. I'll get in trouble. I do that. Okay. And just say this after me, please. I am a living expression of divine love. I am guided, gifted, and grounded in spirit. Today I shine. Today I serve. Today I awaken. I am the miracle, and I let my life reveal it. I am the miracle. I let my life reveal it. Last time, I am the miracle. I let my life reveal it. I want you to know that. I want you to accept that. I want you to believe it. You are the light. You are the miracle. Your presence makes a difference. I know that my life is better because you are all in it. I know that without question. I can feel it when I come in the door. I can feel it when I see your faces. I am blessed, and I know the little bit of love we share makes a huge difference, and so it is.